folks, welcome to the Voice Mood. I'm your host, Olivia Peck, your local millennial voice teacher. Okay, do you have questions about singing? Do you like singing music, but you're not sure if you're doing it right? Hey, ask your questions in the chat. Let's get a discussion going. I have some great topics to go over today, and I'm going to get right into it, but I'd love to hear what you're doing, where you're at, what you like to sing, and join in on the conversation and put in your 2 cents. I love to hear your 2 cents. So here we go. Without further ado, Q&A, little housekeeping, okay, while we get started here. Hey, Justin's here, All James Music. Y'all go follow him. Upcoming artist. Greetings from San Antonio. Hey. All right, guys. And if you're not part of the Facebook group, we have discussions in there, and I'm pulling some stuff from the Facebook group in here. Woohoo! Some student discussions. I know sometimes you're like, what are other people doing in their voice lessons? Well, I like to kind of cover sort of some fun topics that come up in voice lessons, and then you'll also see other topics here, like the tongue, vibrato, breathing. And do you know what type of voice you have? Light, medium, or heavy voice? Y'all, this is a super interesting discussion when you're thinking about light voices, medium voices, and heavy voices. And this was a very eye-opening video that I watched this week by Professor Matt Edwards. So I want to share a little snippet about light, medium, and heavy voices with you. It's incredibly valuable, and he's going to get the discussion started here.
We have variations of voices in commercial styles as well. We have some voices that are on the lighter side compared to others that are heavy. And then we have a lot of stuff in the middle that I would consider more medium voices. And knowing where your singer is.
Okay. He's basically saying, knowing where your singer is. Hey, and Melbourne, Australia's here. Hey, Justin. So when you have a student, for instance, talking about a teacher who has a lighter voice, they're going to execute belting, especially, but a lot of other things in singing differently. And I'm going to point out on the right-hand side of, I think it's your right-hand side, right, screen? Breathing's different. The style might be different. The intensity might be different. And this is kind of groundbreaking stuff if you haven't heard it before, because it really matters what type of voice you have. A lot of lighter singers, not going to mention any names. Who are we talking about? Lighter singers who are trying to sing really loud. Who's doing that? Not me. Yeah, okay, it happens. It happens. If you have a lighter voice and you're trying to be really loud or belt or bring your chest voice up really high, that might be something you need to kind of rethink, and you might have to do a little bit of a paradigm shift. Your breathing also might not be as deep. I highly recommend, if you want to get into this, this is going to level up your singing a lot if you check out this video, and I linked it in the description of this video. But he's from CCM Vocal this is really funny, actually. Vocal Pedagogy Institute, featuring artistic director. He's the artistic director. Okay. It stands for Contemporary Commercial Music, not to be confused with CCM, University of Cincinnati College Conservatory of Music, which is also a very popular school, a very sought after school. Don't get it confused with that. Or CCM, Contemporary Christian Music, which is another acronym that's used.
Means to help determine
it's
some of the approaches that you use.
Okay, moving on. All right, so this was a question we had from this week. And of course, if you have a question, drop it in the chat. Let's talk. Let's see what Chris asked here, okay? He says, is it normal for learning to sing in chest, aka belt, from like D4 to C5? Hey. And revert, is it normal for your voice to be tired and revert back to old habits like head voice? This definitely goes along with what we were just talking about, which is why I slid this question in right after. So let's say you're singing in your chest voice. That's like your heavy speaking voice. Hey, that's about as high as I can go in my chest voice. I could feel it. I could feel the shift. And then I, with my voice type, which is a lighter voice, need to switch to my mix for sure. I've learned this. However, if you've got a medium heaviness to your voice, you might be able to go, like really bring that chest voice up a lot higher. Maybe not. If you've got a heavier voice, you might really be able to bring up that chest voice pretty high, like Jennifer Hudson. She can really sing quite loud in her chest voice pretty high, but it depends on your voice, and it depends on even if you are singing in your chest voice really high, you still do have to change some things. A lot of tenors in opera, they will sing in their chest voice, their full voice through their whole range, but they still need to make adjustments so they don't push too much. And they need to, you will likely have to add in that cry effect a little bit. Yes, so we have Monumental Sound up in here, and he's saying, hey, you know my voice. And I have heard this particular person asking this question. I have heard this person sing. However, it's one of those things where I really need to hear it in real time to know, like, if you're singing in your chest voice, that's something I really want to hear. But based on what I know this person has a bigger voice. Probably, I'm gonna guess medium because it's not super big. But based on their speaking voice, I know that it's probably a medium, and that's how you generally are able to tell. Like right now, I'm kind of projecting more than I need to. Normally, I'm kind of like, this is a comfortable speaking level for me. It's a little bit of a lighter voice. With the microphone, it brings it out. So yeah, it was loud. Well, you might have a heavier voice, but I don't know. I haven't heard you enough to make that determination. If you feel like you're straining bottom line as you get higher in your chest voice, something needs to be adjusted. Something needs to be adjusted. Maybe it's too much breath. That's a possibility. Maybe it's you need to add a little bit of that cry quality and make it a little mixier. It really depends on the situation. Some things to think about, definitely. All right. Great question. So I'm just showing you, this is a MRI of, you can see the soft palate in here. I just wanted to throw this in here. This is from the same exact video from earlier. Just wanted to throw it in. You can see the soft palate. When it lifts up like that, this video is so cool. It's when there's less nasality, and then when the soft palate drops, you can see that's when it's more nasally. It is gross. He said gross. All right, this came up a lot this week in lessons and in through YouTube and everything, and through the community, talking about microphones. This is really a big conversation. Hey, Dusty. Hey. I knew who you were. Okay, y'all. So when you use a microphone, it's going to bring out different tones in your voice, right? Go ahead and let us know in the chat if you have any recommendations about microphones. I think this would help anyone, or leave a comment if you're watching this later, because microphones are a really important conversation you're going to have at some point. If you have a voice that has a lot of that bright sound and you want to dial that back a little bit, guess what? Some microphones might be better for that. If you want that more bright sound, you want those overtones coming out like more typical handheld mics you find, then you wouldn't like the Shure Podcaster mic, because you might feel like it makes your singing voice sound muffled. That's why a lot of, like, this is a condenser mic. This is picking up more of my overtones. Okay. A lot of microphones do. Okay, and let's see, we've got Shure SM58. They say it's the mic workhorse. Yes, this is a common mic. Really appreciate this suggestion. So take notes, everybody, if this is something you are curious about. We love a good recommendation, and I really appreciate when y'all jump in and add to the conversation. So thank you. Okay, so I love this video. I was kind of browsing around, and this gal, Annie Dang, she has some really good stuff for singer-songwriters, so check her out. If I had to recommend, someone who has a good video, that's just, someone I found. Okay, this is just funny. I just had to share that with y'all. Yeah. So it's funny because this is not in any way how I would find the sound, but a voice teacher friend shared that with me, and it just shows that you can get the same result with different tactics. So, and I left that creator's name in the description. So if you want to see more, there you go. All right, moving on. I just thought that was funny. I wanted to share that with you guys. Moving on to a great segue, finding your voice. I'm having a workshop coming up, and there is a way you can sign up for it. It's half off. And in regards to the Benson Boone, what's your neighbors here? Nice. I feel similar. I feel similar. And I'm in a house, so imagine how loud I am. No. Okay. So check it out if you want to explore this type of thing. If you want to explore, like what we were talking about earlier, is my voice light? Is it medium? Is it heavy? Hey, let's talk about it. And this type of class is really good with groups, I find, because you can hear other people's speaking voice and their voices and their challenges they're having. And I think we all have experienced, okay, well, I feel like my voice sounds like this, but the style I want to sing is this. How do I bridge that gap? And so that's really what that workshop is about. It's like, or maybe I was trained to sing this way, but I want to try singing a different style. So that's what that class is for. And it's going to be really fun and a little bit of exploration going on. So, yeah. All right. Here we go. Next question. This is a question from the week. If you have a question, woohoo! If you have a question, please put it in the chat here, and we will get it going. Get your questions answered. All kinds of questions. Okay, so here we go. Rosanna's friend said, this is it from my Am I Singing Right video. I'm glad you said what you said at the beginning of the video, because sometimes trying to relax my tongue and keep it forward kind of makes things tense. LOL. I definitely sound much better when I don't even think about it. Wow. Okay. Who has had this experience where the tongue conversation gets a little confusing? I definitely tell students, hey, like, relax your tongue, because a lot of people have tongue tension, and a lot of people try to protect themselves by, like, their tongue will slide back. This is what it sounds like when your tongue slides back. All along it was a fever, a cold sweat, hot-headed believer. Okay, I'm like really actively doing it. Here's it with it. We're really relaxed. All along it was a fever, a cold sweat, hot-headed believer. Not super different in my low range there, but you could hear it kind of. It's really obvious when you're up high and you sing with your tongue far back. Ah! Sounds like Kermit the Frog, tongue more relaxed. Ah! Okay. Ah! Yeah, you're welcome. All right, so when you relax your tongue, it works wonders. However, what this commenter is pointing out, sometimes you gotta have nuance, especially if you are singing up high and you're singing in your mix or in your belt. Why is that? So, if you know about belting a little bit, you might know that you need to a certain extent, relax your larynx a little bit. In all kinds of singing, you want to relax your larynx like when you're talking. You want it to be pretty relaxed. If you raise your larynx, it's going to sound really squeezed. So you want to relax it. If you are really pushing that tongue forward too much, it's going to bring your larynx up with it. So there are times when you want to relax your tongue a little bit. Anyway, so that might be a situation where this person found that to be true just by playing around and experimenting. So that's why you always want to kind of find what works best for you. All right, going back to this same song, kind of goes with the question we have here. Next question at Event Horizon 618 says, sometimes I hear singers vibrato in time to the rhythm of the music. When I try, it seems too forced. Do you think it's useful to vibrato in time with the music? And I think this is a great question because it's like one of those things that you notice it, but it's really not necessary to try to make your vibrato in time with the music at first. You want to discover a relaxed, even vibrato first, and then you'll be able to start controlling it a bit more. But if you are musically inclined and if you are free and open and you are able to like get that vibrato going, chances are it's gonna be in time with the music. It's kind of just one of those things with that happens like it's kind of like strumming the guitar. It's like once you're doing it, it's vibing, it kind of comes together. So I'm gonna sing Stay a little bit again, and I'll show you with this first line what that looks like. So all along it was a fever. I wasn't really trying to get my vibrato in time. I just was staying connected to my breath. I was staying nice and free, and it was da 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 da. The vibrato was going in time. If I really tried to control it, all along it was a fever. You might get that wobble effect or that goat effect. Yikes. And nobody really wants to be the goat or the wobbler. Nobody really wants that. I don't know. You tell me, guys. I don't know. All right, moving right along. Go ahead, ask your questions in the chat if you have them. Okay, Justin says, I have two questions. One, you mentioned GarageBand for vocal effects. Can that be used for a live solo performer? And he tried that, no luck. I would, so we had a little discussion in the Facebook group about this. Y'all join if you haven't already, talking about different things for live performers. So this was a really valuable conversation. Two, why do so many great singers sing in a way that you can't clearly understand the lyrics? Is it a technique to get the tone or sound they want from their voice? They mean to do it, or that's just how it comes out and they can't help it? Thanks so much, Olivia. You're welcome. Oh my gosh. Always great questions. You guys have such good questions. Okay, so when you are looking to be, solo performer, this is just some of the things that were mentioned in the group. And I also put his name's Aaron. He's a YouTuber in the description. And I really liked his videos about being a solo artist and doing things by yourself. And he tests out different pedals. And I thought it was a great video. So I linked that below. But we had some great suggestions in the Facebook group. Here's just a couple of them. The TC Helicon mic mechanic, and then Ableton. And then this is a vocoder, I think it's called. It's kind of blurry, but basically it's that thing where you can change the sound of your voice, like the tone of your voice. You can sound like a robot. You can sound crazy. So those are what's recommended. I will say pedals, if y'all are looking at pedals and stuff, talk about a rabbit hole. I mean, I'm not super knowledgeable about pedals, so that's another thing. Drop them in the comments or the chat if you are one of those solo performers and you have some great suggestions about that, because that is a rabbit hole you can go down, and it's so individualized for the type of singing that you do and the type of stuff you're creating. So that is a super interesting question. I hope to learn more with y'all on that one for sure. Now, in terms of the second question here, Ariana Grande, come on. We all know that she is known for not really enunciating a lot, right? She's known for that. So I thought she was a perfect example for your question, Justin, about not enunciating. When she sings, she doesn't go, right now I'm in a state of mind. I wanna be in like all the time. No, she's right now I'm in a state of mind. I wanna be in like all the time. Granted, I also changed my tone. I sang in head voice the second time, a lot more heady in the second one. But you could also hear my diction was different. I'll sing it with in my head voice again, but with more speaky diction, okay? Right now, I'm in a state of mind. I wanna be like all the time. Okay, sounds weird. Yes, it's intentional. It's intentional. And if you saw her in Wicked, mysteriously, she has much better diction. It's a style thing. It's a style thing. It's definitely like musical theater. You're enunciating more. You have better diction. You have punchier consonants, and your vowels are more pure. You know, but with pop, you and to a certain extent, musical theater as well, other genres as well, but especially pop, you want to relax this a little bit, like you just went to the dentist, right now, and it helps to exaggerate the first go. A lot of times when I tell my students, really relax, like over relax, right now I'm in a state of mind, they end up singing it really, it's just so much better from over exaggerating. So try over exaggerating that, like that relaxed sound, really focusing more on like relaxing your jaw, relaxing your tongue a little bit, and focusing more on the vowels instead of chomping to the consonants. And that's where diphthongs come in. And if you watch like my one of my first video, I talk about diphthongs a little bit, but it's like basically you don't want to like chew on words like mind. Right now I'm in a state of mind. Mind. She chose mind. She could have sang mind, but she said mind, and that just sounds better. And so that's a choice, and that's a typical choice to make in pop and a lot of genres actually. Not emo music. Emo, they're enunciating. What's the song? What's the emo song? Yeah, they're enunciating. Hello there. No, that's not a good example. Okay, here we go. Is very individualized. Who's this? Does everyone need to relax their tongue and jaw? No. All right. I wanted to just tell y'all, because I had a lot of, the reason I made this video was because I had a lot of questions about certain technique things, and I just wanted to let you guys know that I made this particular one about questions regarding some of the typical concepts: soft palate, breathing, jaw tension, all kinds of stuff like that. So anyways, that's what that was about. It's like if you take a piece of advice on the internet from me or whoever else, then you just need to take it a little bit with a grain of salt, because it's the internet. I haven't heard your voice. I'm saying things that are across the board good things to do, but there are exceptions, like the tongue thing. You want to relax the tongue, you want to relax the tongue. But if you're doing it too much, that larynx raises up. So that's the kind of thing where everything is individualized to a certain extent. And, for the most part, I try to, give disclaimers and be nuanced. But at the end of the day, things change. It's a science, so we have to like be transparent about that. And so that's what that video is about. Yada yada yada. Here is a here's an emo song. It really enunciating. She gave me roses by the stairs. Yeah, they really enunciate. Really enunciate. So that was a perfect example. Thank you so much. Okay, that was a good one. All right, here we go. So yeah, yap, 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 talking about that. Okay, these were the controversial things that came up in our voice teacher Facebook group. Voice teacher Facebook group gets heated. It gets heated. All right, this came up, and this is what gets pretty heated. Use the diaphragm, as I was saying earlier in some lessons this week. When you use a diaphragm, or you say use the diaphragm, why is that controversial? Technically, the diaphragm moves both voluntarily and involuntarily. So it's hard to say use the diaphragm. It's more like breathe deeply when you need to, but a lot of the time you don't really need to breathe that deeply. You really don't, and I'll tell you why. If you're singing pop music, and you want that clear sound, hey, hey, whatever. Okay, if I took a huge breath and did that, hey, hey, it sounds more classical. It sounds more open. Why? Because when you breathe in and the diaphragm goes down, your vocal folds open up a little bit more. It's inevitable. That's why lower breathing is better for classical singing, that kind of thing. So relax the tongue. We already kind of addressed that. So if you missed it from the beginning, we kind of talked about the tongue earlier. Basically, you just want to be aware that relaxing is a little bit of a broad statement. It's a little bit lift the soft palate. Similar to the breathing thing, you don't want to like have it stretched up all the time. Okay, because sometimes you're going to be more why you have to go and make things so complicated? A little more speaky, a lot of pop singing, a lot of musical theater, country, contemporary music is going to be a little more speaky. So you don't need to lift the soft palate like an umbrella up there, like, oh, okay, you can kind of relax that a little bit. And it does go down. Like when you have a more nasally sound, it flaps down, which was what that gross MRI video from earlier was showing. And then another thing is feeling the resonance. This was brought up, and boy, this was heated. This was the heated part, because a lot of people were like, well, some of my students can't feel that. They feel things differently. So valid. The whole like feel it here, feel it here, feel it here thing. It's gonna vary a little bit from person to person. And resonance is again kind of a broad term. What does it mean? And I talk about that kind of controversy in the video about am I singing right? Yeah. So here's what you should do. Ask yourself, what type of singing am I doing? And can I be flexible and willing to change? Can I like learn this and then also be like, but this could change. Like I could grow, I could try to sing a different style, and I'm going to do this a little differently. So just always keep that in mind. We are always learning new things about singing. So anyway, all right, and let's see, Justin. Okay, awesome. Thanks so much. One thing thinking of is James Rain, Australian crawl band, especially unpublished critics. You can't understand at all what they're saying, but it's a great song. Yeah, talking about enunciating. It's so true. It's like you'll have a great song, but you're like, what? I don't know. My boyfriend can't understand the words in any song. Like he has no idea what anyone is saying. Like even if it's the YMCA, why? I'm sure he still wouldn't know. Like, I don't think he would know. I'm serious. Like, I don't think he knows. So, Yellow Ledbetter by Pearl Jam. Oh, yeah. Yeah, a lot of metal songs. I have well, Pearl Jam is not necessarily metal, but yeah, like rock singing, I have no clue. I have no clue what they're saying. Yeah, it's a good point. Different artists. have different things. Yep, talking about the diaphragm, blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah, and if y'all have questions, for sure, oh, that's okay. For sure, ask them in the comments or the chat or the comments if you're watching this later on, and I'll address them next week. All right, here we go. Let's check this out. I'm glad the rib cage is a bigger deal because that's always worked for me. I'm sticking with the pelvic floor, which I only learned about 2 years ago, and I spent years focusing on the belly, which for me was just okay at best. So I prefer the pelvic floor and the ribs and the back muscles. Everyone has their own thing. Maybe there's no wrong answer. Okay, all right, all right. So we're talking about breathing. Talking about breathing here. So some people learned take a belly breath. That's definitely something I've said because it's pretty safe to say that. Some people say rib cage, expand the rib cage. That's something I say more now because that's happening for pretty much everyone. Your rib cage is gonna expand. Okay. The pelvic floor, it's still kind of involved. It's involved because your body, it's all connected type of thing. Now, one thing that some of us were taught is to push down on the pelvic floor when you're singing. Like while you're singing, that's something that Pavarotti did, okay? And other opera singers especially, and it's kind of carried over. People are still doing it. It's more of a hazard for women. This was something I found out very recently, not like yesterday, but in recent months. And I'm going to show you if you are more curious about this topic, then you can go check out this really cool. This is who I learned this from. Okay. Okay, not Jesse Malinowski, but I do have whatever. I'll show you guys later. But basically, there's a physiologist. She was talking about when female-born singers push down on their pelvic floor, it's a little bit dangerous because you can kind of wear out those muscles. So you can think as you get older why that would be important. For men born singers, it's a little less dangerous to push down on the pelvic floor because of the way they're built. So it's just something to keep in mind. The pelvic floor is still there. It's still maybe moving, but the whole pushing sensation is not something you want to do regularly. That's a word of advice about that. Okay. Now, if y'all don't have any questions right now, then I'm going to show you a cool quote from an acting teacher from Atlanta. And if I know we have some actors in here and people who like to do singing, acting, like everything creative. And this was a really great quote that I heard today. And he had like a webinar thing. But I'll get to it after the question. Dusty, what do you have going on? What's your question? Go ahead and share it in the chat ski. Okay. What is the benefit of the pelvic floor? That's a really good question. I don't feel like I can answer it super well in terms of like science, really super science terms, but basically the idea was when you push down, similar probably to the diaphragm, that sensation of things like pulling down and making space for your breath. It kind of all, kind of like a blink. How, okay, when I'm blinking, I'm shutting it's all kind of like working together. Everything in your body works together. That's the idea. And your pelvic floor, I guess the way we were taught was like that was a way to ground your breath. That was a way to sustain your breath. It was a way to take bigger breaths. So to your question, I guess that's why we're not really thinking of it that way, because it's more up here. A lot of the singing we used to do, the singing techniques was more like it was a feeling. It was a feeling thing and a mental thing. It was a mental game a little more and a little less science based. But now we know, okay, well, pushing is not really doing anything. It's just a sensation that's getting us to maybe sustain our breaths. Some teachers say push your belly out when you sing. That's also like the same idea as like just do something. I think it's like just do something to get a lower sensation instead of singing from here. But now we know that there's other ways to do that, like, keep your rib cage expanded, or like I like to say, pretend like you're pulling your belly button in slightly as you go on throughout the phrase. That could help you. Something gentle like that, because if you're breathing normally, like, don't fix it if it ain't broke type thing. And I think we overthink breathing, and we're starting to realize that now. Really good question. I hope it helped. My response helped. Okay, so here we go. This is something he said to actors today, and I think it's something that I think of a lot when I am teaching. Yeah, you're welcome. When you're teaching singers too, or all of us doing art, if you feel like you did nothing, you probably nailed it. How often do you find out that you're overdoing something? I thought that was a good quote. Anyway, if you're interested in I will sing my lowest note. If you're interested in acting, I highly recommend following Get Seen Studios, because they do these webinars every once in a while, and there are people from all over the world who join and watch the Zooms, and they're really valuable. And he talks about casting and different tips and stuff. So anyway, I thought that was useful. And if you're in the Atlanta area, definitely a great resource for y'all. Okay. All right. We got a question here. Sing your lowest note. All right. I'm going to try. That's a little pushed. Let's see. I don't even know what that is. Probably that's comfortable. It's probably like, what, an A, not that low. I'm a soprano, I think. Sometimes I can sing alto stuff, but yeah. All right. Here is the physiotherapist, voice physio. She is the one who, if this is for you, if this is something you're curious about, she's the one who's talking about the pelvic floor. So anyway, I digress. I just wanted to let y'all know there is a person out there you can follow if you're looking for more health-based like advice and stuff. I recommend her. So yeah. All right, moving right along. All right. Oh, good. Okay, so we're nearing the end of the pre-planned questions here, because I'm throwing that in the workshop. And this is something that was requested a long time ago for me to react to Electric Callboy. So I'm going to do that really quickly. But if you have a question, I'm not going to watch this whole video. If you have a question, please ask and I will answer it before I watch this. But yeah, let's check this out. I caught a glimpse of it because I wanted to make sure there was no swearing or something. So, okay, here we go. All right, if there's no questions coming in, I'm just going to give it a whirl. I'm scared. I like it. I like it. Okay. I don't know. I have no critiques. Like, this is awesome. This is dancey. It's fun. It's cool. Okay. All right. Did y'all expect that? Do y'all know who this artist is? Okay. I think it's super fun. Ew, yeah, somebody said ew. But I think it's super fun. This would be perfect in our household because I like funky music and Jeff likes metal. So, maybe that would actually be great over here. Maybe we need to get more of this singing in here. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but that's super super fun music. If you have artists that you really like how they do genre bending music, then by all means let us know, and would love to check it out. So anyway, all right, very very nice. Yeah, the music video is really fun. It's really fun. I took a glance at it. All right, folks. So here we are, the Q&A. If you have questions, drop them in the chat. Great to see you all. Yeah, but it's been a great week, great day of lessons as well. And it's always fun to hear what's going on. It's so great to hear progress by students and stuff. I have to say, there's been a lot of people trying out different styles lately, and that's always really, really exciting. Um, I personally, you all know I started with classical and kind of got more contemporary as I went on with singing, and that's a pretty common trajectory. So the styles are very different, the techniques very different. I like to help other singers who also come from that background. All right, Red Clay Stray song I Just Want to Be Loved. Okay, we're going to have to check that out later, guys. Red Clay Strays. Always good suggestions over here. Very interesting. Okay. Yeah, I have to say, I think it's also interesting when artists do a genre shift as well, like with Chapel Roan. I don't know if y'all heard The Giver. Personally, her voice really lends itself to country a lot because she has that like twang, she has that poetic writing. Um, so I mean it really works. Her singing already did to me have like a hint of that like country twangy flair to it. God, what have you done? You know, that's actually pretty twangy. You can easily. I always go into trying to do Australian, that's twangy, but or New Zealand. Well, hey y'all, you know that twang. God, what have you done? Yeah, whatever. Horrible Southern accent. My Southern accent's not very good, but you get the idea. You know, the twang. It's in there. It's in there. Oh, did you guys know there are two different types of twang? For real. For real. Yes, she does that. She will grow on you. Chapel Roan, she'll grow on you for sure. I have twang. Good. Twang is very good. It's very good for your enhancing your mixed voice, moving your belt higher, doing sort of a mixed belt. There are two different types, though. There are two different types of twang, apparently. There's oral twang, which is what I was just doing. Whoa! Okay, that's oral twang. Wasn't super nasally. Nasally twang. That's a little more heavy. That's better for trying to get a heavier thing in your voice. You'll hear that a lot with Lady Gaga. Her voice is super nasally, and it's as Professor Matt Edwards says, it's a great stepping stone for getting a bigger beltier sound before you kind of figure out how to do it without all the nasal. So nasal can be a really great tool. Of course, you never want to be too nasally, but you know, it's all preference, I guess, because of your accent. Yeah, where you come from can definitely impact like your twangness. Yeah. How does Lady Gaga like her steak? You know what? I don't know. I have no idea. But I know she wore the meat dress, and you know, here's the thing about these artists. Um Lady Gaga was like yeah, raw. Yeah. When I first fell in love with Lady Gaga, it was after after the meat dress era. I thought the meat dress thing at first was like kind of weird, but watching her interview about it now and her perspective on it, yeah, she was being shocking, but it's just really funny because she was very high fashion about it. If you watch her Vogue interview, she's like, I love Lady Gaga. I just think she's amazing. But it was cool to see her talk about the meat dress and her outfits because she took it very seriously and it was a statement. Don't remember what it was, but it was, and love her, love her. Oh, thank you. Y'all are so sweet. If you guys have questions, go ahead and ask them. I will demonstrate 3 different types of slides you can do. A little sneak peek of the workshop that we're going to do. We're definitely going to do this in the workshop. So I'm going to show you 3 different types of slides. So when you're doing your slides, when you're warming up, you want to make sure that it matches what you're going to do. So if you're going to do opera or something like that, then you're going to want to use your head voice slide. Oh, ah, yay. Okay, and you can use whatever vowel you want. You can play around with that. If you are going to be singing something really poppy, a little rocky, you might want to do a chest to mix slide. So, it was heavy on the bottom. What I call threading the needle as you go through your middle range, and then we hit the top and we go back down. That's what you could do. You could do the whole thing in your mix voice. It was kind of even through the whole thing. You could also do how high can you go in your chest and kind of regulating that. I could stay heavier longer, so that's a really good exercise, and that'll be part of the workshop. Okay, good question here. How to sing like John Mayer. Half of my heart on. I think, sorry, I have to do it to answer this question because I feel like he has a warmth to his tone, gravity, So he does, I think he covers a little bit where he has a darker sound. So thinking like O vowel. If your O vowel is like oh, like a darker O vowel, okay? That's something you could leverage to sound more like John Mayer. I would also say John Mayer does, I'm sorry, he does have that Kermit the Frog thing going on a little bit. He does. So, half of my heart is stuck on gravity working. But he does have a little bit of twang as well. Working against, I don't know. I don't have the same voice as him at all, but you know what I'm saying? So those are kind of the ingredients for John Mayer. I think he's got this covering thing going on. He's got a little bit of nasality going on. Yeah, when you want to get inspired by an art, when you're inspired by an artist, these are the things to think about, okay? Now, first know what your voice sounds like and that same idea of like lightness, medium, heaviness. John Mayer, I would say, I don't know, he's more medium. I know that he did struggle with some vocal polyps. So maybe he doesn't have the most resilient voice in the world, but then again, he's touring and stuff, so that's pretty hard on your voice. Okay, let's see. I heard him sing live on a podcast recently, sitting in a chair, squinched up, and he barely pushed singing. Sounded like his recording, but he was relaxed and sounded like we all could do it. Hey, I love that. Okay, so he was pretty relaxed. That's a good point. So, what your best singing is gonna be think about that quote, when you're doing nothing at all. When you're just singing in your voice. And I think some of my students can attest to this, that when they dial it back and just sing it in their voice, maybe speak it first and then sing it, you'll find your sound is really beautiful. It's very special, and it doesn't sound forced. It just sounds like you. And I'll give you an example, okay? I did this with one of my students this week. Okay, and this was the song. It was Slow Dancing in a Crowded Room. Oh, I love that song. Slow dancing. It's slow dancing in a burning room. His high notes was just relaxed and mixed. That's cool. Yeah. So and he honestly, all of the stuff too, I was saying how he covers and stuff, he kind of has a interesting voice. Like, I think it definitely matches his speaking voice. So that's cool. I'm glad he's doing well. I know that he had some vocal injury. So I'm glad he's doing well. Great. He was not that I'm like following up with John Mayer. Hey, how you doing? Worried about you. I don't know. So yeah, if you want to sound like an artist, certain artists, the ways you can kind of steal from them, like things they do, because you want to learn from other artists, is look at how they're shaping their vowels. Look at how maybe kind of gauge like how big of a breath are they really taking for their voice, what's working for them. When are they flipping to their mix? Their mouth shape. I like watching Cynthia Erivo because she really opens her mouth a lot, and it's really cool. There's other things you can look at, like choices they make. So like there a lot of singers are acting when they're singing. We're singing, we're acting it out with our voice. So that's something to think about. How did they choose to share this line or and whatnot, things like that. So yeah, that's stuff you can look for. I will say there's pitfalls. Like for instance, for a long time I thought that I sounded very similar to Lady Gaga. because because I do have a nasally quality to my voice, I guess, and there are certain times in my low range that sure, there's similar timbres. But once her voice is way heavier than mine. So once I get out of my sure, okay, I'll give you my Lady Gaga impression. Once I get high, I cannot really. I mean, it's like I can't recreate that because my voice is so much lighter than hers, and so I have to just switch to Olivia mode. Um, okay, so let's see. What's a song by her? Corks off, it's on. I've just begun. I promise this drink is my last one. I know I messed up again, 'cause I lost my only friend. God forgive my sins. It's like my lower range is more like I can kind of make it sound like her. But, if I'm up high, I hate myself until I die. It'll start to change. It'll start to change. Hey, Hick. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Hick is awesome. Y'all should definitely follow along with Hick's journey. He is an incredible actor that I had the joy to work with a few times, and he's in my movie as well. And he's really awesome in so many ways, but really crushing it out there. Very inspiring story, and right here in Louisiana. So some really, really talented people down here. That means a lot. Thank you so much for stopping in and saying hello. Yeah, if y'all are interested in acting, you can also ask questions about that. I'm not the expert in everything in the world, but I love to get a dialogue going. It's great to talk about like how we cross train in different things. You are the best, dude. Yeah, it's great to cross train in different fields. Like, look, I'm trying to learn how to dance too. It definitely, like when you learn something new, it always helps with singing too. So if your goal is is to be thank you so much, Hick. If your goal is to be like the best singer ever, it's always take up ice skating, try different things because it always informs your craft in different ways. Kind of like writers, how they'll go travel the world and they'll write based on their experiences in a new place. Same idea with anything, right? In fact, my jazz experience really informed my acting experience a lot. I'm very grateful for my jazz teacher because there's a lot of the same rules in jazz and in comedy. Like silence is important. Like vibing with your group or who's on stage with you, very important. Listening, very important. All the same things, like the big rules in jazz, are very similar in acting and in improv. So, anyway, that's my little tangent about that. but love to talk about how things kind of relate. Very interesting. Okay. All right. If you have any questions, go ahead, drop them in. I'm going to wrap this up probably shortly. So, definitely get your questions in, but if you don't, put them in the comments. I'll answer them next week. I do this every week. This is my first time bringing it to Facebook. Holy. And of course, you can always go to my website, oliviapeck.com. That is like where you can find the workshop information. That's where you can sign up for lessons. You can send me a voice memo. A lot of people send me voice memos, and then I send you feedback. It's super easy and fun. And just all the links are there. So, anywho, all right, moving right along. Thank you all so much for coming out. Before I end this, I'm gonna just say a big thank you. And if we have a question after that, great. If not, great. Either way is really great. And I'm gonna be on here putting the timestamps in after we're done with this. So hang in there. If you're like, I missed it, I'm putting the timestamps in. Don't worry. Okay, not a question, but thank you so much for taking the time and giving us your expert advice. How sweet. Thank you so much, Dusty. Y'all are the best. And this is why I'm doing a little thank you to you guys. I feel so lucky to get to chat with all of you. I'm so grateful for the technology we have today. I just hope that everyone watching and now and in the future, thanks so much. Like, I hope you're happy and healthy and thriving, and singing should be fun. And I hope you're having fun and be part of the community. Definitely put your 2 cents in, because all of you have something really special to offer. And I love hearing your opinions and questions, comments, and even grievances. And it makes me a better teacher. So thank y'all so much, and have the best night ever, or morning if you're watching across the world. Bye.